of the castle done, but it's far from being finished, so it's time to do some more work on it and hopefully get at least very close to being able to call this one done. I don't know how much we'll get done in one go, we'll see, but hopefully we can at least make some decent progress. So for those that didn't see the previous one, this is the castle that we have so far. It is based on a real life castle. Maybe you can spot which one it is supposed to be, but yeah, we have of course used CKF castle keeps and forts for this one, and a little bit of the castlecraft decor already for the flags and everything. Obviously we'll do more detailing once we get all the way done with the build, but for now it's definitely looking quite nice. So this is what we did last time, mostly just this viewpoint. This was kind of the view that we worked on, and then I made sure to copy all the windows and the walls to this side. We do have this big tower, definitely need more detail, but again we only really worried about the look from here, so the silhouette of the castle last time. So plan for today is trying to get this side done up until like the courtyard side, and then we'll see how much time we have and start working on the other side as well. Hopefully, you know, it would be really nice if we could do the entire courtyard, but we'll find out, right? We'll find out how much time it actually takes to get that far. But hello there everyone, welcome in. Let's get to some building today. I'm quite excited to continue this one. It's been a while since I've done some building here and done some building in Castle Craft, but we'll oh, not Castle Craft, CKF. Well, also Castle Craft, both. We're gonna use both because we're gonna definitely use the decorations, but mostly it's gonna be CKF. What we're gonna do here, I kind of want to, there needs to be a little bit of an additional build here, which I think is going to start around this side. So we're going to destroy a little bit of the castle that we have, because we need a little bit more going on this side, which is fine. Which is totally fine. We can do that. Hopefully without too much trouble. For now, we will do it, I guess, up to this part, because I want to keep those windows around. There we go. So that's the wall opened up, and we should be able to get to work. It feels very counterproductive to say hopefully we can get this one done and then start by deleting a whole bunch of it, but I promise it's on with a good purpose, hopefully. Hopefully. Hello there. Finally continuing the work on here. I guess window wise, maybe, do I just want to continue the windows that I had? Just push it forward. I guess that would be the most convenient maybe to do. Just keep the same shape in here. What is it, like this? Think so. Yeah, probably that makes the most sense, to keep the shape as similar as possible. And I guess that means this would go in like so. And that does mean we have a little expansion here on the existing room, which is fine. We'll definitely want some nice supports for this too, of course. Just like that. There we go. See, we're just adding a little bit of extra detail to the side, which I think is working quite nice. So I guess this entire side wall needs to be the bigger one. Awesome. There we go. That is hopefully not gonna change too much, except just give a little bit more detail and interest, I guess, on this side of the castle. I mostly have good pictures of this side of the castle, not of the other side, so this one is going to be very detailed. And I guess by default then, if this is detailed and this is different, it already creates some interest. And I think mostly on this side we'll worry about dressing up that big tower, making that nicer. But first, of course, we will have to do the this side here, the new addition. I guess, well, most likely we'll keep that because that it would be the same. So at least that window is going to be all the way up. I just noticed that there is actually some extra details here, but probably we can get away with just this, because otherwise it might be a little bit tricky to fit in anything else. No, I'm not gonna go too crazy. Definitely not. As long as we don't decorate too much, we should be fine. And it's not big yet. Not big at all. There we go. Okay, so basically all I did is now push it out a little bit, which is kind of what this part of the building is, I guess. Is this kind of just what we need for this part? It might be. Just a small little roof, because we could start that earlier, but I don't know if that's gonna look any better, so we'll probably just keep it like this. And then technically there should be like a little balcony there, but I could make the balcony. There's just no way I'm gonna connect anything to that balcony. Like, why would I? It would just be extra structure. So maybe we'll just have this expansion, because it's already breaking up the symmetry and anything and everything. So all right. Hello there, X-Men Dave. Welcome in. Welcome in. Yeah, there's a lot of cool things in CKF, and I believe there's more on the way as well. There's more cool things coming to this, hopefully soon. So there we go. Yeah, we kind of just added a little bit of extra detail here, I guess. It's fine. It's fine. The next part is going to be, well, I mean, giving this an entrance. That's going to be quite important. And then we're going to focus on the wall on this side of the courtyard first. Also, I want to turn off all these player names. Can I do that? Will ARK allow me to do that? Hopefully it will. Sometimes they pop back up, because I tried to do this before I started, but they popped back up whilst I was doing the starting soon. Alright, so for the entrance, I think since it is a big castle, I kind of want to go for the larger option. There we go. So a 2x3. That should be a nice entrance. Do I have any pictures of the front of the castle? I don't really have any pictures of the entrance of the castle for some reason. But that's fine. We'll just see what fits. I guess it would be kind of nice to just mirror this cemetery-wise. Which I guess just means that we would have a window here. Right? Is that so? Yeah, that feels like it lines up. So that means that on this side, we would have that. And then we have the same height for these windows. I feel like it makes sense to mirror at least those. And then we can bring up this wall all the way. Fill in that side. And I guess over here at least it would kind of end like that, because it's like a walkway for that. And then actually these towers here at the front I also kind of wanted to expand. So I think what we'll do is we'll have these continue downwards. There we go, just like this. And then probably you want to do the same thing. I guess that's the only ones that would have windows. There we go. So yeah, basically I want to just make these towers a little bit bigger on the front of the building. Because we have them along the sides very small. But here we want them to be a little bit bigger. I already have the small stairs. I do not. I need these ones. Why? Oh my god, it's... Is it gonna ever give me the right snap point? It wants to snap to these walls for some reason. Not down here. Well. That is interesting. Why wouldn't it snap to this? I guess we could fix that probably by adding in a ceiling. I mean, I'm definitely just adding these as decorations. I'm not planning on making all of the castle accessible. A lot of it is just going to be decorative. There we go. Yeah, so that will just be a slightly bigger tower here on the front. Hello there, welcome in, welcome in. Because that's going to shape the entrance quite nicely too. So I think we'll do the same thing for the other side, you know. Make sure those are symmetrical at least. So we'll keep the same windows in place. Continue the wall down. No, I guess first we want to have another layer of these. There we go. Yeah, because we kind of want to make sure that we get a little bit further today, because I would like to have this as a functioning community center at some point. And got plenty of other builds and projects coming up soon. There we go. That's gonna look quite nice. Two little towers on each corner. I like that the sides are different. That's always a good little addition. Very nice. Yeah, and I guess then it's just going to be most important to get some nice shapes in here. Do we just fill in the walls? I guess realistically, what is that? That's a nice amount. Yeah, realistically, we at least want to have this next to those big windows. So they're balanced on both sides. And then I think maybe if we want to add some extra windows above the doors, what we could do is just have a bunch of smaller ones, maybe. And that should line up to be the same height as the rest of it. I think that's quite nice. Potentially. And then, I mean, if we keep that layer in our mind, this one, I guess we could have a little balcony maybe here on the front. Probably just a very small one, though. Just like that. I guess having this doesn't really work too well because of... Oh, I'm stuck. Hello, please. Yeah, it wouldn't really work too well because it sticks out and then it kind of hovers. So we would have to, you know, kind of fill this in a bit more. But I guess we could do that because I do kind of like the idea of this balcony like this. I guess we'll need at least one ceiling to get the right snap point here. But yeah, then maybe we will have to get rid of the windows we had here. So we might have to do that a little bit differently. There we go. I guess we could still have the windows there, just a little bit lower then. I guess that still works fine. And then we have a nice little balcony above the entrance too, which is quite nice, to be honest. So let's say we have one of these, which I think could be nice. Then I think we might want to remove this one. It's all part of the process of building. Because yeah, if we do a double wall there, that actually lines up pretty nicely, and we could actually just have another big window there, maybe. I think that would be quite nice. At least get in plenty of light. Why are we having legs? White. There we go. Yeah, that's pretty nice. And then, of course, we can continue that little bit of detail we've had in the castle, because then it kind of all feels still connected with each other. And then, of course, there's not really going to be a whole walkway around it, like on the other side. So maybe we could add, like, it's not much, because pillars aren't that big on CKF, so they don't stand out that much. But it might be enough just to create a little line here to break up that first section going into the second section. And we have to keep in mind that there's probably going to be like a nice courtyard in here, which, you know, to be continued until we actually build it. Okay, there we go. So yeah, that's going to be the entrance. I feel like that makes sense, you know, having at least a nice entrance to the balcony. And then I guess the real challenge is going to be the windows. What windows make sense here? We also have the bigger windows, of course. I don't think these necessarily make sense, but the round one like we have on the other side, like this might make sense. How far down do we have that? Like a whole wall? Is that a whole wall? Oh yeah, so we have the tiny gables and then a full wall. That's where the big window is. All right, let's see, because I feel like at least mirroring that big round window is a good thing to do. So yeah, that's probably going to be like this. Tiny pieces to fill in. Awesome. And then we'll have the big window right up there. That's quite nice already. It is quite a tall building. But yeah, I think we'll be fine. Maybe we'll have some nice windows in between. So like how this is 2 walls still, right? One. Oh wait, it's not even lining up. How is it not lining up? Oops. Did I not build the roof far enough? I guess we'll build up from here. Wait. Is this... How is this not lining up? Oh, I guess it's lining up with the edge. I just went too far back. I haven't had any gables here yet. So yeah, we just need to have it there. And then we should be good. Why are they not matching? There we go. So we want to have the tiny ones, and then we can have the big window again, and then now it should all be lined up. There we go. Yeah, that's perfect. We have we have all the paleo mods on our community server that are released at the moment. You want to continue your castle? Yeah, castle builds are pretty cool. But I definitely think I enjoyed having a break from it as well. Like, I feel more up to the challenge. Having a creative break. Let's see. Okay, so now we can see it's like 1.5 still. So I think we want to have those there. And then we could have maybe 2 smaller windows in there. Like, that makes sense. There we go. All right, let's start filling in some of these sections. Oh god. Wait. Is it because I have smaller pieces? I don't know. Why is it not lining up? Now it is. I guess the top will need to be different. Every little bit we can save is always gonna be a nice bonus. Okay, well, I guess it makes more sense to start that from the bottom going up. Oh god. There we go. Get those in there. We'll kind of see how much room we have left, you know, to add some other creative things. There we go, the man of the hour. Welcome in, welcome in. How are you doing? I think what I probably want to do is... Well, I guess... I mean, it doesn't really matter where we have those. Although, why are they now not lining up with each other? Did I flip those the other way around? Trying to keep everything lined up. No holes in my castle, please. There we go. Perfect. Alright, so we basically have 2 sections left where we might want to have some kind of windows. And it's never really going to line up with the bottom section, so I guess we kind of need to see those separate. Yeah, I'm hoping that at least we'll get far enough so that we could kind of start using the community center. Maybe. We'll see. I mean, technically the hall is almost done. Or at least usable. There we go. How do we do the windows? Because obviously we have windows here. Do we just have a section like this at the bottom? Like, I guess it depends on how much windows we want to have, because we could have a section like this. Wait, oh, that's the wrong way around. There we go. You know, we could have, because that's kind of what I see in the front. Like a lot of these smaller windows. Do I want to go one further? I mean, why not? Kind of works. I guess the only real downside is the it's kind of flat. I think we're not gonna have windows there because we could have like a nice statue coming out from there. Well, yeah, it could be a lot faster, but I waited very long to continue my castle, so you better hurry with those updates. Oh, what was that? Hello? Got a friend? He's supposed to be launched the other way. I guess I've got a friend now. We can go to the island to do an ocean platform. I mean, I don't go to specific build locations, and I most likely will mostly be building on Ragnarok and Astraeus at the moment. There we go. Alright, I feel like we're getting quite close with the hall, which is good, because plenty of more work to do after the hall. So I guess we kind of just add these in. You know, at least a little bit of depth can be added that way. Keep getting sidetracked by everyone else's suggestions. Yeah, I mean, at some point, I guess you kind of just need to decide, okay, this is what I'm going to release now, and the rest can come later. There's always going to be... we're always going to have more suggestions. It's never going to be enough. Oh, what? Fell from the sky. Oh. Thank you, ARK, for... please. There we go. Oh. Well, that's nice. That's very nice. Alright, there we go. We have the outlines of the hall. We definitely want to have some flags and, as I said, like a big statue there, which I think can make it quite nice. But I think the main structure we have in place, which is good. Which is very, very good. There we go. Yeah, let's not focus too much on adding the details right now, because otherwise it's going to take me a long time, and we're probably better off actually building the rest of the castle, you know. That would be quite nice. It would be quite nice indeed. So, I think probably what would be the best way is to just kind of start here by laying out what size it's going to be. I might do an ocean build again at some point. Kind of depends, you know, what I feel like building most of the time. All right, so there is some buildings here on the side of this courtyard that we're about to start. And I don't really need these buildings to be very big. So I think in most parts of this, we're going to keep them relatively small and simple. And I think technically it goes a little bit further here. Oh, there we go. That one was launched. Let's see, how far around the corner do we really want this to go? Because it might be quite annoying if I make it go too far. Actually, it would already be quite annoying if it goes that far. Because then it would be in front of the window. So maybe... maybe instead... we have 1, 2... I mean, I don't really want to make it go any further. Maybe it's just a tiny little... build like that. You can start using this mod for free. Like most of the tiers are for free. It's just the keep tier, so these stones that I'm using right now that are the paid part of the mod. You can already do some really cool builds without needing to lock that. Okay, there we go. We have some foundation support. So yeah, I think we're gonna keep this very small just because I don't want this build to be massive. That's not really what we're looking for in this build. Okay, so I kind of want to have maybe some windows like that. Could add like an extra arch for them. Maybe? I don't know. We're just kind of trying something here. Hello there, Crimson. Welcome in, welcome in. Okay, let's see. Should we have any windows here? Guess maybe we could have the very simple one. Just like that. And I guess for the rest of this, probably just want to fill that in so we don't see the open spots. There we go. Very nice. All right. So it's going to be a little bit higher. So we're going to have to continue that wall. Maybe I do a window like that. That could be nice. Yeah, we'll have some pillars. Oh, some beams there. I guess we do need to have these then. Okay. So yeah, we're basically just designing this corner because, I mean, there's going to be more builds extending from this. And then I guess we just fill in that layer like this. So we have maybe a little bit more, and then that should really be it. And And I guess the roof is going to be quite simple, isn't it? I guess it would be like that. There we go. So nothing too steep for these sections yet. Oh god. There we go. So yeah, from this corner we would have something like this, and obviously we probably want to continue these supports. Because yeah, we want to basically make these blend in quite nicely, and I think continuing these might be a good call. Just like that. I mean, it's probably a way to make this a little bit nicer, but as long as it works. Oh god, this doesn't have the variant. There we go. There we are. Yeah, Exile, don't forget to log in every once in a while because DK is on now. So both the Trails and Rag, your bases, you want to load them in. Let's see. I guess we want to just have that. There we go. Yeah, once we add some extra rocks and stuff around and some greenery, especially on the slopes, I think that's going to be totally fine. Yeah, on reg you're fine, but at least on the other maps where you're solo, you might want to hop on. All right, so the next part is going to be like a little towery thing, which is going to stick out a little bit. And I think it's going to be another 4x4, honestly. But just a little bit moved to this side. So I guess this is where it would really start, because this is the layer of... Well, it doesn't have to be the layer of, because this was the layer of, but I think the actual courtyard, we're probably going to build around this layer, because then we can have like a nice staircase coming down. So how, you know, maybe we'll go even lower, because we can definitely have a nice big staircase going into the main build, and that would give me some more room to play with. So yeah, let's do that. And that of course means that these walls we can just fill in. Yeah, all my streams are always available on YouTube afterwards. Okay, so for now, let's just build up these walls for like a estimated height. It's probably going to be something like that. Not too much higher, because I don't want it to compete with the main build. There we go. Right, so this tower is actually relatively simple, at least in the actual castle. I also think that we can still continue these from here, but obviously from there it's going to be different. So I think we'll have these. There we go. Okay. And then kind of we want to have these sections continue for each of these. So I guess we'll keep that going. And that kind of already shows us how high this should be, because I think then this should be the last section. So we can make it one lower. There we go. So at all of these, we're gonna have the beams going across it. We'll have the windows in there. There we go. And you can definitely also add in some extra details, of course, by still having these things around some of these window sections. I guess we could have them over there just to add a little bit more depth into it, because otherwise it's going to be quite flat. And I think that's going to just be a little bit nicer. And maybe for these walls, I guess we could maybe add in some arrow slits. I guess they doesn't really matter too much depth-wise. There we go. Flippable. Yeah, I mean, I just need a little bit of something going on there. I think that's fine. Technically, it could be used as defenses, I guess, now, which is good. I mean, I guess the wall on this side is actually going to be very easy again, because once again, there's going to be a building next to it, so it's probably going to be even simpler. Well, actually, it's going to be probably pretty much the same as the other one. There we go. So wherever we have those, we can keep them going across. And I guess the arrow slits too. There we go. So yeah, we're mostly interested in getting like the shapes and the structures right in place now. And then we'll see how far we want to go afterwards. We can't use those ones because those have no quarter sizes. So we want to go to these instead so that we can play around a little bit with the shape of this. So yeah, basically I want to have those. Then we can start our tower roof like that. And then these should be able to finish it so that it has a little bit of like a shape to it. And then of course we can still add in the edges as well, which should give us even more if we keep them like shallow, the shallow eaves. There we go. Yeah, that looks quite nice. That's not half too bad. Adds in a lot of nice shape out here on the side of the castle grounds. Since it's basically, this is all just kind of shaping up the build. I think I might want to use the pillars here to set this one apart a little bit more. There we go. I think this might be just white. I think we just went for the simple white option for this. It's been quite a while since I did the first part of this build. But it's based on a white castle, so I assume I just painted it white. Which looks quite nice. I love how it still keeps all the shading in it. All right, there we go. I'm quite happy with that. Then we're gonna get a slightly bigger building addition. Yeah. The blue and white, I really like the combo. Obviously, these parts are gonna have a painting job as well at some point. But for now, it all looks nice. Okay, so we have one more building on the side of this one, and then we can start on the other side. Just for a reminder for myself, now that we have decided that this is going to be the courtyard grounds, I'm just going to extend this a little bit so I know that's the actual floor here. I guess the best thing to really do that would be maybe to make an entrance here. There we go. So we know this is the castle grounds, and that's where the entrance would be. And then we can probably do the same kind of pattern as we did on the outside. I guess that would make a lot of sense. And I'm probably not going to make these towers accessible because I don't want to have to decorate them all, because that might lag people if this would be fully decorated. At least on console. There we go. I mean, that is pretty basic, but it will look quite nice once it's fully done. Right. There we go. And I guess the real challenge might be this. This one might have to be changed as well, because, oh god, what did I do? There we go. Yeah, this one might have to be changed a little bit, because yeah, it makes more sense if maybe that would also be part of the same. There we go. So we'll delete those for now. So we might have to add like a layer down here. And then what I actually could do is lower this entire section. So basically repeat what I did, but just lower it down. So if I take out these two walls, I should have this going on. There we go. I think this is what I did there, yeah? Did I do that? I think I did this. Yes, and then we had... yeah, the beam is going... Oh, wait. What did I do here? Oh, it's just... Oh, I didn't do all this. I did that. Just have the wall up there. Just like this. And then you want to have the roof. There we go. Yeah, so at least here on the outside we'll have the eaves going around it. There we go. We don't build big. We never build big. There we go. It's just a 2x2 I'm building. Just a 2x2. Don't look at anything that's connected to it. Okay, so yeah, this would also be connected to the courtyard. It would have to have some like staircase to an entrance, but that's totally fine. Because actually that could be some cool details. There we go. Would I have any windows in here? Probably not on this layer. Then we would have that layer. We can continue at least that. And we can continue that over here. There we go. And I guess here we want to have our gable. And we can fill in the last few pieces, which should give it a little bit of an interesting look here, which I like. You know, nice and cozy. Corner of the courtyard. Doesn't feel like we've done a lot, but we've actually figured out quite a lot shape-wise for the build, I think. Okay, now we can come back to this side here. Oh, no. Oh god, no. Why does it not let me change the variant anymore? That's not great. Come on, game. Oh, that's very annoying. It doesn't let me change the variant. It is very annoying indeed. Does it let me do it here? No, what the heck? Alright, well, I guess I'll do the edges later, but we'll just continue it at this height. Very strange indeed. Okay, so now the next section is going to be another building, which I guess we're just gonna do based on the same height. So maybe four wide. Okay, and that's 3 long now. 4, 5, maybe 6 long. Is that enough? No, it might need to be longer. It might need to be 8 long. Okay. I mean, I don't really need it all to be foundations, to be fair. Because it's gonna need to be raised up anyway. Okay. Ooh, actually, I need to bring this in a little bit further. Because we need to go in by 1. So now it's a 3 wide. 3 wide could actually work. Doesn't need to be massive. Because we don't build big. We don't build big ever. Not once have I built a big building in my life. That's definitely the truth. Okay, so what I do want to do is over here somewhere. So we have 8 in total, right? So these would be the middle. Okay. So that's kind of the shape I want to add, I think, because we want to have like a little rounded ending here, which is definitely going to give us some nice detail. So now what we need to do, we have the foundation layer, but the actual layer, of course, is going to be over here. So we have the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. The 8 by 3 basically is going to be a building here. It's going to be the majority of the side of the courtyard for this side of the build. And we have that building going. Means we can add in our walls going down. Yeah, the terrain here is a bit unfortunate, but we'll make it work. There we go. Yeah. I see the vision. I see the vision. I know you guys don't see the vision yet, but I promise you there is in fact a vision. It could actually be cool to have like arches underneath the sides here, maybe. I don't know how practical that would be and why that would be. I don't know. There could be like a, a passageway underneath. But I guess it wouldn't really lead anywhere because there's not really anything to go down here. Well, there is the farmers down there, but there's not like a pathway here. And also not really a natural way to do that. So maybe not. We'll see. Let's first focus on the building before we focus on, you know, adding the details along the sides. For these, we have 3 wide sections. I think what I want to do is basically break them up like so. And then I think this building is going to be at least this high. There we go. Yeah, so this pattern is going to be once again returning, which, I mean, I feel like that's very often the case for these builds, to kind of line out the windows. But I think that works, and I think then in between these we could have those, although there should be an easier way. There we go, without needing the half pillars in there. I think, at least. Can I? There we go. It is doable. Can we get it again? There we go. Awesome. So yeah, the dividing line is basically continuing here, which is good. And I think then here in these sections, I want to have these tall windows. There we go. I like that. Kind of want to have like 2 of these double windows next to each other, but I guess you can only do that if you do like, yeah, these windows basically. Which is totally fine. We can do that. Yeah, so do I want to raise it any higher than this? Maybe. I think a little bit. Although, maybe also not. Let's see. Yeah, it needs to be at least a little bit higher than that building. So I feel like maybe we'll have a small... The question is... No, we won't be able to add another even there, which is funny. Because we can't overlap them. We can do these, so I guess I can have that go in there. You know, it's better than nothing. Better than nothing. All right, let's finish this, like this special part of the build before we do the other side. So I think I want to start with a layer like that. Although, I mean, I'm pretty sure we're not really adding anything too crazy here. So I can probably just bring those walls up. And we can, of course, keep the beams going. Very nice. Actually... I guess I can't do that for those windows because they are technically the same. They exist on the same spot. But I'm wondering if we could do something a little bit more special here. I guess we can't unless you do the double windows, right? Because this one is never gonna fit in the same spot. Because I kind of like the idea of that arch. But I guess we would have to do double windows like this. Or double tall windows maybe. Like those. What, oh what will we do for these? Actually, now that I look at the actual castle, it wouldn't even have too much here. This might actually be more like what it actually is, which is quite a fun design. There we go. And then it would have windows up here. There we go. Okay. Now I definitely want to have these arches on those sides too, to kind of match those vibes. There we go. Okay. So yeah, I think we'll continue those with some extra windows up there at least. And then I think on these sides we will add in the windows. We just will have the cleaner ones there. We might add some statues eventually to spice up those sides. But I kind of already like the look of that. Of course, we want to continue the beams. Oh yeah, this is where the beam is supposed to go. Wait. There we go. Yeah, that already breaks it all up quite nicely, but I do think we need a few of those again to kind of add a little bit more depth to the whole place, because especially in ARK, otherwise it just kind of looks very flat. There we go. I think that already helps by just, you know, making it a little bit more 3D. Don't know if this would make a lot of sense. Don't think that would. But yeah, if we have statues there, we don't need it. And of course, we could have those, but then I'm gonna make it more square again if I do that. So maybe... let's see, if I go from the top. There we go. It does add a little bit of a nice addition. Kind of rounds off these corners a bit more. So I think we'll do that for the entire side of this. There we go. Bringing those, well, not all the way, well, kind of all the way down, I guess. Awesome. Yeah, that just rounds off those corners a bit more, I think. And then, of course, we're going to have to add these sides in, but unless it has changed, for some reason, it will not let me change the variant on these. Maybe if I create new ones. Steep roof. look quite nice once we have them all. Okay. Come on. There we go. And there we go. Awesome. Then we want to have the big windows in here for all of these. Yeah, but looking left and right is a little bit hard when it's inside of a wall, I find. Okay, there we go. I think we want these at least on those corners here. There we go. And then I guess on the outside we would have these. I think for those we can do it. Probably down here we won't, but instead we'll have some like planters there, so we can have some greenery in the courtyard. And I think for, I mean, I'm pretty sure for these sides we could just keep it very simple because there's already loads of things going on around it. I feel like that might be nicer to just keep that simple. And just fill in that side. I do kind of feel like I want to have that pillar on the corner. Same over here. I mean, I guess that one you wouldn't really see. We can always add it if we need it. And then I guess we want to make sure we finish the details here on the roof. We're actually not going to do it right here because we might do something different on the end there. So we'll have those little ones, and then of course the eaves. There we go. Because yeah, we're gonna have a nice end to that building here. And I guess here on the front actually we can just continue it all the way through, because can we? Yeah. Because of there we're not gonna do anything differently. The only part where we might do anything differently is right at the entrance itself, because I think all I really want to do is just bring it out a little bit. And then probably it's just going to be something like this. It's not going to be anything too crazy. It's just going to be a nice entrance. I think we can make this a bigger entrance, because we have a bunch of the smaller doors, so maybe it makes sense to have one that is a little bit bigger for this section. And then or do I just want to do some windows like that? Maybe I do. Okay. I think this could probably be nice just to add, I mean, a little bit more to look at, I suppose. Breaks up the wall a bit more. There we go. Just like that. Do I add anything in here? I guess what we could do is a nice round window. There we go. Yeah, I feel like that's nice and simple, but it's a nice side here for the courtyard to make it a little bit more interesting than just being the default look. And just to make it a little bit more clear, let's add in a few more ceilings so that we in fact realize that this is going to be what the courtyard level is. Oh god, that's not necessary. So yeah, basically this is going to be an entire courtyard with some cool statues of sharks everywhere, some plants, greenery, and I guess just a safe landing spot for those that actually visit the community center. That might be slightly important as well, you know. But then here at the end, we kind of want to make the building a little bit more special, I think. And I think the way to do that is just to make it go out a little bit. And we add some walls. We add some pillars. And then I think... I mean, I was going to just add a full wall just as we did on the other side, but I guess this side we still want to make look a little bit nicer. So at least on this side, we want to raise up these pillars. And they're going to be slightly higher. Just a little bit higher. Oh, I see things disappearing again. That's the fun bug that I thought was gone. I guess these sides are always just going to be these pieces, so we might as well bring them all the way up. Should be that piece. Yeah, always building, always building. You know, I keep myself refreshed by just switching up what I'm building all the time. That is just how I keep it fresh. You know, do some modern builds, do some hobbit holes, and then build a castle. There we go. Yeah, this is definitely getting somewhere. But yeah, thinking that I might finish this entire castle in the ideal world, we would have some smooth stone surface, but I think in the meantime we might just use this instead, and I think that will still work quite nicely. Yeah, just to make sure that it's nice and reinforced. Then up here at the front, we probably want to make, oh god, this a little bit more special. Okay, I guess I'm gonna have to add the items in first. Although, now that I think of it, I might want to keep those walls and then have a big window. There we go. I guess we can save a few structures by replacing some of these. There we go. And we can add in the end of that. Yeah, we might have like a little statue, something on there. And I guess we might as well add in the ceilings here on the inside. Probably just bring this all the way up. Yeah, maybe we do the thin windows in here. There we go, that's quite nice. A little bit of that. And then some extra depth. Yeah. I think that would be it. And then, of course, we'll have to go around pretty much the entire castle and see if we want to add, like, statues everywhere. Although I shouldn't go too crazy, so the community can still load it without too many issues. I guess it would be great if CKF had some statues of its own, so it probably wouldn't be as demanding loading in structures. Although I guess if it's just deco boxes, people that don't have the skins installed wouldn't have any extra pressure downloading anything. No extra performance. All right. Kind of think that building wise on that side we did do most of it. Maybe we'll start a little bit on getting a staircase to go in there. This is, I mean, it doesn't look like we did a lot, but we definitely figured out big pain point of the side of that castle. So the next thing is to make a nice staircase here. Probably want to go for these. Always like those. And then I guess we also want the railings. There we go. So yeah, at the very least, we're gonna have to have these. Yeah, and I think probably want to start off like that. And I do think we want to have at least that going on. I don't think CKF is ever going to have a cosmetic version, but because a lot of this wouldn't be possible just with skins, of course. But if you're looking to build castles with the cosmetic version, I think probably best of using Castlecraft. Although, of course, they don't offer nearly the exact same things, but yeah, you can just do a lot more with an actual server-side mod. All right, we're gonna have to figure something out, because if I do it over here, it's gonna be quite difficult for that corner. So maybe I don't actually have the stair go down on that side. And I only have it going down over here. Let me see, what will I have in the future there? I mean, I will have buildings there. Let's see. Like, I guess this would be nice, because then I could actually just do something where it goes back like that. Although I don't have support anymore. We will have to add in some support. Oh, geez, I guess this is going to be a whole different snap point now, isn't it? Did that give it support? It did. Oh, you are making a skin version. Damn, look at that. Okay. I mean, I guess I could make it work on that side, but is that ever gonna fit over here? Not really with keeping that intact, but just out of curiosity, could I make it work? Probably not. It's gonna be quite messy. Let's not start that mess. And the other side, we can still, you know, build around it. And it's fine if it's just one swoop coming in, because we have this corridor where we can work with then, and probably keep it simple on that side. There we go. All right, let's see. Support wise for this, we would just go on like so. There we go. That would be the start of it. I guess you wouldn't really see much over in that corner. And over in this corner, you might see a lot, but I don't think I'm going to do the outside yet, since I don't know which buildings will be there. We'll keep that for probably for next time's problem. We will try to get a little bit of foundation support going on underneath here. Which might give us the opportunity to continue the courtyard just a little bit. At least a temporary one, you know, until we actually can start building it out. There we go. Oh god, no, don't like that. I mean, the courtyard's still probably going to change quite a bit, but at least we can kind of get a an image of what it's going All right, let's see. Where do at least about that far is how far these foundations need to go, I think. Which means we can kind of plan out a little bit more of the courtyard. I guess if I connect a few more of these spots up, that will give me the support I need. Okay, so for now, I think at least... Okay, I guess we can actually maybe remove these quarter ceilings for most of this. And we can just continue the courtyard. And we'll have to figure out that corner later. We'll see exactly what we do over there, but that's giving us a little bit more shape to everything. Including knowing what side of the staircase to completely fill in. There we go, that's not really doing much. I guess there's always going to be a little bit of overlap to it. Come on, there we go. Because I don't think there's like quarter pieces of the shallow bits. Although I guess don't need all that. I could probably just do these instead. So we only have that little bit sticking through. Why do we not have... There we go. I guess at least underneath those... I mean, to be fair, we probably will have some kind of design going on at that height at least. So that section is definitely always going to just be that. But the rest of this, of course, we can actually start to design some different parts. And the main thing is going to be, there's going to be like a main building here, which I guess should start right about here. So let's see, how many walls is this? This is 4. That's totally fine. Do I want any like addition here? maybe... I think it technically would have like an addition like that on the outside. I guess the inner wall isn't very necessary. Okay, and then I guess that is the layer of the courtyard. So that's going to be the base layer of this build. Which I guess is only going to be accessible through the next part of the building, but that's totally fine. You can still make it look nice from the outside, of course, and then this is at least going to have to be that high before it can have any details, because those walls in there. There we go. There we go. And I guess it at least needs to be a little bit higher than what we have right here. So if we have this entire wall, it is already too high, so 2 walls high. I guess it's at least going to be another 2 walls high. I think so, at least, because that kind of goes up to that height, right? And then I'd probably do something like that. Oh wait, that's not snapping to the right walls here. That is. There we go. So yeah, that is the right wall height. And I guess these, we probably could do a smaller railing here. Can we? No, we can't, because there isn't half railing. Well, there's no half stairs, so I guess it makes sense not to be half railings for the shallower slope. That's fine. Okay. Okay, I feel like we are doing it all wrong, aren't we? There we go. Awesome. So yeah, those are the arches ready. Yeah, I guess this is where you would want to have windows. Would I just do these kind of windows? I mean, that's not too bad. Not too bad. Let's see, because if we want to do roofs on here, There we go. That kind of works. And then, of course, we can add in all the usual suspects. And then here on the outside, we want to have that and that. And here on the inside, it's going to be quite simple. Just a nice edge around. And I maybe want to add some planters around there again to add in some greenery. That's always a nice touch. That's the start of the corner. That works quite well, I think, with the staircase. I guess if we really wanted it, we could make it rotate again over here. Like, let's see. We could do something like that, maybe, to save a little bit extra space. There we go. Yeah, because we could just have the stairs come back in. Yeah, that does save a little bit of space. That might be nicer. It's even more curved. Leaves more space for parking flyers in the rest of the courtyard. If I don't decorate all of it, which I shouldn't. There we go. Yeah, quite like that. I think that was a good change. And then we can have our fancy railings going on. So yeah, now it's even more of a curve coming into it. And then obviously we need some kind of nice detail in that little corner. But I'm sure we'll work something out. But yeah, that makes for a nice sloping entrance to the castle. All right, let's finish this side over here too. Which I think it shouldn't be too difficult. Because we probably just want to have some nice windows in there as well. And then down here, what do we do down there? Do we just have windows? Maybe. I think we do a big window here. Because why not? Why not? I think that looks quite nice. And then we want to have some of these along the front. There we go. And then once we can do the ASR bits again, of course, we can continue those details. But that also at least starts this corner of the courtyard. Quite nice indeed. And then this is where the fun part begins, because there's actually going to be a nice building in the next section. So how long is this going to be? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe also 8. Maybe that would be a nice section to do. Just like that. Thank you. Yeah, I think it's definitely coming together quite nicely. Of course, it helps basing it on an actual castle, because it's kind of nice to just have some kind of guidelines, but there's always the translation you need to make into ARK, of course. And I'm trying to keep especially the courtyard, I'm trying to condense, because if I go too big, yeah, people would be having issues loading it in, obviously. And that's definitely not what we want. Okay, so I don't think I'll be able to build the entire courtyard today. So what I'm going to do first is kind of just design this next section, this wall that we're going to have. And then that will at least save us some time for next time we continue the rest of it. Is this what I did here? No, because I started differently, didn't I? Okay, so what I did, I think, I started with these pieces. And then I connected the in-between like so. There we go. Because at least this top section will be the same. Oh god. Can I please delete those? Okay, thank you. There we go. Yeah, so those will be the same, and then we're gonna fit in some windows. Just like that. Oh god, what did I do? There we go. So yeah, that is creating a nice little section over here. Do I wanna... Oh god. It always snaps to the different walls when I go look around. Do I want to have something like that going on? I don't know. Maybe I'll do something else to break that up. Then for the bottom part, what I think I want to do is potentially create something more like arches, which also means that that's probably just going to be an entrance like that, and then just fill in those walls. Okay, so that's not what we want. Because if I do arches like that, whatever I build could be used as kind of a nice place to park some of your teams if you're visiting or seeking shelter here. It's a little different to the original castle, but I feel like that would be most useful for what it's going to be used for in ARK. Yeah, no, I think that would be too much. It's probably going to be easier just to do these. There we go. And we can snap it to those walls. They were smart not to do that first. Yeah, I think this is going to be nicer, having these arches, because then we can actually utilize the bottom of this building. Because a lot of these buildings we're not really going to use, because if I decorate all of it, it's definitely going to be hard to load for consoles. There we go. All right. So the next section, what we do is we will only have a little ledge here of the roof. And that's basically where the next part of the building is going to start. And it's going to hopefully look quite cool. There we go. And then this wall will continue a little bit before there will be a tower, and then there will be the actual gate entrance to the whole thing. So it isn't going to be too big. You know, I think we still managed to keep it somewhat compact of a castle. Also, I just don't want to jinx it. Well, we can jinx it now. It hasn't really rained all day. Can't believe it. It normally always rains on Ragnarok. Magic in the air. So yeah, the next section, I probably wouldn't want it to be too big. but maybe like 4 wide before the tower is here. Yeah, that seems about right. So we'll add in those sections already. Why not? Because those are going to be quite simple. At least the top part we kind of know. Because that would be the same kind of sections we've had so far. There we go. Add in some windows. Awesome. And then I guess the bottom section is kind of new because there we can't see the bottom section, and here we decided to do those instead. So for this bottom section, I guess we did kind of do it, right? We did it here. So yeah, it would kind of just be bring those across and have normal windows. Nope, not big windows, normal windows. There we go. And then I guess this line would continue too. Nice and easy. I kind of feel like I might want to do something like this. Just a little edge. There's a little bit of detail around. I think that could work. Probably end there. That's nicer this way. Just a little edge of the roof to break up that wall a little bit. All right, I feel like that is what we needed. And I guess that means that the courtyard will at least continue this far, but obviously it doesn't have support everywhere yet. There will be a nice tower there, then there will be a staircase down to the main gate, which is kind of perfect and still kind of flowing nicely with the landscape, I think. Not too bad, not too crazy. I do think I'm gonna call it a day there, because we've done quite a bit, and I think if I start the next section, it's gonna go on too long for me. So yeah, I think we'll call it a day here. But I'm quite happy with the new addition. That's definitely a big addition. Obviously we need to paint it and everything, but I might as well save that until we've done most of the building, because then it's going to be easier, and then we can also play around, because I think it actually might be nice that if we do the majority of the castle white, some of these little towers we might want to change colors of, just to make them stand out a little bit more. So for now, I'll probably leave it like this. Although it is quite easy. We could always paint it if we wanted to. Well, maybe we should paint it just for the entire picture. Let's do it. Let's see what it looks like. So we'll go all regions. I'm pretty sure we used white. Matching connected. There we go. there we go. Yeah, it's definitely becoming a castle. And that's just the one side. That's just the one side. We have a whole other side here too. Well, we didn't do too much on this side yet, but it's getting there. It's getting there. Okay, I need to paint at least these arches too, because otherwise it's going to be ridiculous. There we go. There we go. All right. Well, I think that's a decent amount of work on the castle. Definitely starts to look more like a castle any moment. So there is still a decent section we need to do, but pretty sure next stream when we work on this, we should be able to get hopefully most of it or everything done. I don't think it's going to be that much more work. Hopefully. We'll see. At least I'm very happy with what we have so far. It's definitely starting to look really cool. And that means that hopefully not too much longer and we can actually start using this as the community castle that Ragnarok deserves. So yeah. Oh, that's going to be it for this stream then as well. Hopefully you did enjoy, watching me slowly go insane by building a castle, but I think we did pretty well. I'm still, let me know if you actually recognize the castle. It is an actual castle. An actual real castle out there in the world. You could visit this. It would look slightly different, but close enough. So yeah, thank you for joining me today. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, of course, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and yeah, make sure to leave any suggestions of things you would like to see next in the comments down below. And then hopefully I will see you around in the next stream. Probably tomorrow we will have an Enshrouded stream, and then on Friday we jump into survival and we're actually going to start building Jurassic Park with my community, but also we're going to have to try and survive on the Jurassic Park island. So you can expect plenty of pro survival moves, because of course that is definitely what I'm known for. So yeah, hope to see you then. For now, goodbye, and see you next time.